Greetings everybody, it is I, Zaynen, and welcome to Dagon. I have no idea what to expect from this game. Dagon is big guitar I've never played before, except for like maybe load up the menu for like a couple minutes and then never played. Let's see, Dagon is a faithful, interactive adaptation of HP Lovecraft's work, focused on story and atmosphere. You will not find difficult choices, action sequences, or inventory management here. And movement is limited to progressing through locations, along with the plot.
I am writing this under an appreciable mental strain, since by tonight I shall be no more.
So it's just like a walking around narrative game? Oh jeez. During the game, you'll encounter interactive elements. Some of them will not allow you to continue your journey. Others reveal interesting facts about the original short story. Its historical background in the author. Some of the truth is hidden. In order to find these secrets, focus your eyes and look for the elder sign? What? Also, mouse sensitivity is a little weird. Oh, I'm not able to walk around. I can't look behind me. What kind of game is this? Why can't I turn around? Let me. Oh my god. Okay, I'm already frustrated with this game. That's actually kind of awful. It reminds me of those like point-and-click adventure games, actually, but with a kind of
penniless, and at the end of my supply of the drug which alone makes life endurable, I can bear the torture no longer, and shall cast myself from this garret window into the squalid street below.
I mean, it'll be better than being frozen stuck here, not able to move. So, I mean, throw me out there. I'm ready. Oh.
Do not think from my slavery to morphine that I am a weakling or a degenerate.
What? Huh?
When you have read these hastily scrawled pages, you may guess, though never fully realize, why it is that I must have forgetfulness or death.
So you're losing your memory, you're taking substances. Great. UK? Is the character I'm playing as a kid? Did I just see spotting from my... I don't know if I'm seeing things now. Oh, it might be just some of the particle effects, okay. Is this the only thing to interact with? Are there choices to be made, or...
It was in one of the most open and least frequented parts of the broad Pacific that the packet of which I was supercargo fell a victim to the German sea raider.
That's a boat! Can I walk up to the boat? Nope. Excellent. Point and click. Gunshots?
The Great War was then at its very beginning, and the ocean forces of the Hun had not completely sunk to their later degradation.
Well, at least there's some
so
pretty
that our
parts.
vessel was made a legitimate prize, whilst we of her crew were treated with all the fairness and consideration due us as naval prisoners.
Okay. Am I supposed to find something to look at? And I guess that resumes the game, and this just gives me more detail. Whoa! Oh god! Okay, this is in my eyes now. The Huns were gentle Asian nomads who estimated the dominion and defeated brutal, deadly warriors. There's a raid to develop powerful come to bows. During World War II, Germans, German Emperor William, give space to his troops. Encountered the enemy who to be defeated, no quarters. Cross-eyed German, their refusal to take prisoners. It's really hard to read all this. You can read the discoveries trivia immediately or go back to them later in the main menu. Okay, good. I can always read later. Show trivia on finding them. I don't see why not. Pretty. Just wish I could walk around the ship. Gah! Oh, you're on it. One step. You're gonna grant me one
so
step.
So liberal,
Okay,
indeed,
sure.
was the discipline of our captors, that 5 days after we were taken, I managed to escape alone in a small boat with water and provisions for a good length of time.
This is some of the nicest looking water I've seen in like video games. You can't let me walk around and enjoy this chip. Is this making an escape? I need to immerse myself more into the
When
story.
I finally found myself adrift and free, I had but little idea of my surroundings.
I mean, looks like a lot of water. There's the moon. There's stars. Just find the North Star. And just know where north is, so then head east or west and hopefully find land.
Never a competent navigator, I could only guess vaguely by the sun and stars that I was somewhat south of the equator.
Oh god, wow. Well, I wouldn't even have guessed that much, I guess.
Of the longitude, I knew nothing, and no island or coastline was in sight.
Right. I guess we could look at the moon if we really want to. Very prettily detailed. I like that.
The weather kept fair, and for uncounted days I drifted aimlessly beneath the scorching sun, waiting either for some passing ship or to be cast on the shores of some habitable land.
Or it could be inhabitable. I mean, I guess you're having wishful thinking and not sadder or darker thinking, trying to keep your hopes up.
But neither ship nor land appeared, and I began to despair in my solitude upon the heaving vastness of
I'm just being forced to stare into
blue.
the sun. My eyes. Oh god, no. Why would you do this to me?
The change happened whilst I slept.
Uh-huh. The dramatically building music is slowly intensifying. What am I waking up to? You read everything else out, why not this? Okay, its details I shall never know.
For my slumber,
Okay, I don't
though
know.
troubled and dream-infested, was continuous.
Squids. They're squids. Wiggling squids. Am I in mud or sand or the galaxy or water or an oil spill? Is that cobwebs? What's going on?
When at last I awoke, it was to discover myself half sucked into a slimy expanse of hellish black mire, which extended about me in monotonous undulations as far as I could see,
Bill.
and in which my boat lay grounded some distance away.
Uh-huh.
Though one might well imagine that my first sensation would be of wonder at so prodigious and unexpected a transformation of scenery, I was in reality more horrified than astonished.
I mean, half of it you're soaking in like Icarus duck, so that's understandable.
For there was in the air and in the rotting soil a sinister quality which chilled me to the very core.
Okay.
The region was putrid with the carcasses of decaying fish and of other less describable things which I saw protruding from the nasty mud of the unending plain.
Are we standing up now instead of were we laying down? I thought we were like kind of like in like water. I guess
Perhaps I should not hope to convey in mere words the unutterable hideousness that can dwell in absolute silence and barren immensity.
I guess we're standing on oily soil.
There was nothing within hearing and nothing in sight save a vast reach of black slime. Yet the very completeness of the stillness and the homogeneity of the landscape oppressed me with a nauseating fear.
I mean, it's pretty much the same difference as the ocean that's probably off over there along the horizon. So, you know, not any better.
The sun was blazing down from a sky which seemed to me almost black in its cloudless cruelty, as though reflecting the inky marsh beneath my feet.
Okay. Sure. I guess we look at the boat now. Ugh.
As I crawled into the stranded boat, I realized that only one theory could explain my position.
You landed on a island full of stranding sea creatures that has like a terrible oil leakage or something?
Through some unprecedented volcanic upheaval, a portion of the ocean floor must have been thrown to the surface, exposing regions for which innumerable millions of years had lain hidden under unfathomable watery depths.
I mean, yeah, I could fathom that.
So great was the extent of the new land which had risen beneath me that I could not detect the faintest noise of the surging ocean, straining my ears as I might.
Or, you know, you could be having a weird nightmare dream. But I guess that's like a more reasonable, potential logical
Nor were
conclusion.
there any seafowl to prey upon the dead things.
Weird. Ah, a fish.
For several hours I sat thinking or brooding in the boat, which lay upon its side and afforded a slight shade as the sun moved across the heavens.
That's a pretty smart idea to get yourself shelter from the sun, because if you're in it for too long, then you can get burned. Unless your skin can handle it, but even then.
As the day progressed, the ground lost some of its stickiness and seemed likely to dry sufficiently for traveling purposes in a short time.
Oh wow. Seemed very smart and articulate.
That night I slept but little, and the next day I made for myself a pack containing food and water, preparatory to an overland journey in search of the vanished sea and possible rescue.
See why they don't allow
On
them to
the
walk
third
around
morning, I found the soil dry enough to walk upon with ease.
I'm still waiting for the moment when I'm allowed to walk around, but I
The
also
odor of
understand
the
if they
fish was maddening, but I was too much concerned with graver things to mind so slight an evil, and set out boldly for an unknown goal.
don't. Okay.
All day I forged steadily westward, guided by a faraway hummock which rose higher than any other elevation on the rolling desert.
Huh? Oh, we're just walking past a whale then and some weird elongated bone finger things, okay?
That night I encamped, and on the following day still travelled toward the hummock, though that
Okay.
object seemed scarcely nearer than when I had first espied it.
I mean, it looks a little bigger, the giant mountain. You can probably get a good look at the range of the whole location. Also, is this a giant worm in the ground? Or a dragon or something? Leviathan?
By the fourth evening, I attained the base of the mound, which turned out to be much higher than it had appeared from a distance.
I mean, yeah, that makes sense.
An intervening valley setting it out in sharper relief from the general surface.
Okay.
Too weary to ascend, I slept in the shadow of the hill.
Always trying to.
I know
make sure you're
not
getting
why
back
my
in the sun.
dreams were so wild that night.
Probably because you're in the middle of a friggin' wasteland landscape with all kinds of weird things around you.
But ere the waning and fantastically gibbous moon had risen far above the eastern plain,
Oh.
I was awake in a cold perspiration, determined to sleep no more.
Ah. Okay.
Such visions as I had experienced were too much for me to endure again. And in the glow of the moon I saw how unwise I had been to travel by day.
What do you mean?
Without the glare of the parching sun, my journey would have cost me less energy.
Huh.
Indeed, I now felt quite able to perform the ascent which had deterred me at sunset. Picking up my
Okay.
pack, I started for the crest of the eminence.
I mean, I suppose that makes a little sense to conserve energy while not having the
I
sun
have
beating
said
down
that
you.
the unbroken monotony of the rolling plain was a source of vague horror to me. But I think my horror was greater when I gained the summit of the mound and looked down the other side into an immeasurable pit or canyon, whose black recesses the moon had not yet soared high enough to illumine. I felt myself on the edge of the world,
So we gotta wait till daytime.
peering over the rim into a fathomless chaos of eternal night.
I mean, I am currently fathoming it right now. You say it's unfathomable, it's fathomable.
Through my terror ran curious reminiscences of Paradise Lost,
Huh?
and of Satan's hideous climb through the unfashioned realms of darkness.
Oh, we're talking about Lucifer now. Okay, great.
As the moon climbed higher in the sky, I began to see that the slopes of the valley were not quite so perpendicular as I had imagined.
Okay. So are we gonna sleep up here, or?
Ledges and outcroppings of rock afforded fairly easy footholds for a descent.
Lean over the ledge. Just give ourselves a little rock forwards and just kind of twist about, you know?
Whilst after a drop of only a few hundred feet, the declivity became very gradual.
Yeah, I can see that. Are we going down into the pit after climbing the mountain? Or are we not gonna wait to get a good sight of what's around us? Or wait till day?
Urged on by an impulse which I cannot definitely analyze, I scrambled with difficulty down the rocks and stood on the gentler slope beneath, gazing into the Stygian deeps, where no light had yet penetrated.
So are you trying to find shelter?
All at once, my attention was captured by a vast and singular object on the opposite slope, which rose steeply about 100 yards ahead of me.
So you just had a weird urge to be drawn over to here, and there's this obelisk.
An object that gleamed whitely in the newly bestowed rays of the ascending moon.
It's pretty looking. Oh, I guess I'm going to the ground over here. Yep.
But it was merely a gigantic piece of stone,
An
I
obelisk.
soon assured myself.
It's a weird cube-shaped stone. There's actually a natural crystal that forms in cubes or something I heard about not too long ago. Like within the past week or something.
But I was conscious
enough.
of a distinct impression that its contour and position were not altogether the work of nature.
I mean, fair point, because yeah, may not be made out of bismuth or whatever that one crystal could be. Could be, because surprisingly enough, there's things in nature like that. Like salt, it forms in cube crystals or whatever. But this looks like more regular stone, and yeah, it does look probably chiseled.
A closer scrutiny filled me with sensations I cannot express.
Okay.
For despite its enormous magnitude, and its position in an abyss which had yawned at the bottom of the sea since the world was young,
Okay.
I perceived beyond a doubt that the strange object was a well-shaped monolith,
Uh-huh.
whose massive bulk had known the workmanship and perhaps the worship of living and thinking creatures.
I mean, that could definitely be a possibility. Maybe there was some weird decision where people just went onto the middle of nowhere and just constructed this thing.
Dazed and frightened, yet not without a certain thrill of the scientist's or archaeologist's delight, I examined my surroundings more closely.
Why did the music get dramatic when you say that? Trying to spook me? Oh.
The moon, now near the zenith, shone weirdly and vividly above the towering steeps.
Where did this
hemmed
water
in
come
the
from?
Chasm.
What? Huh? Wait, how big? The thing got bigger. Now there's images on it. And it's water. Weren't we just right in front of the thing?
And revealed the fact that a far-flung body of water flowed at the bottom, winding out of sight in both directions and almost lapping my feet as I stood on the slope. Across the chasm, the wavelets washed the base of the cyclopean monolith, on whose surface I could now trace both inscriptions and crude sculptures.
Okay, so definitely is man-made.
The writing was in a system of hieroglyphics unknown to me and unlike anything I'd ever seen in books,
Floating in the air right now.
consisting for the most part of conventionalized aquatic symbols such as fishes, eels, octopi, crustaceans, mollusks, whales, and the like.
So it is an Atlantis statue.
Several characters obviously represented marine things which are unknown to the modern world.
I mean, there's a lot of marine things that are likely very much unknown to us. Pretty sure the new ones get discovered all the time. Because there's a lot of things in the ocean that we don't know.
But whose decomposing forms I had observed on the ocean-risen plain.
Oh, you mean those were creatures we've seen. Okay.
It was the pictorial carving, however, that did most to hold me spellbound.
Okay. Oh, geez, storytelling methods. Dagon contains many themes and storytelling methods that Lovecraft developed in his later works, such as telling the story through carvings at the Mountains of Madness, the Nameless City, journals and characters' notes, Shadow Out of Time, the Hunter of the Dark, Islands emerging from the ocean, the Call of Cthulhu, or fictional beings and deities based on real events and mythologies. Migo in the Whisperer in Darkness. Migo in the... Okay. Is also considered the origin of popular Cthulhu mythos. Some of Lovecraft's other stories also conclude in a manner similar to Dagon, but let's skip the details in order to not spoil the ending. Okay.
Plainly visible across the intervening water, on account of their enormous size, were an array of bas-reliefs whose subjects would have excited the envy of a doré.
Oh, so like those are like water creatures because they have like a weird tail thing.
I think that these things were supposed to depict men, at least a certain sort of men.
Watermen? Ocean men? Ocean man.
Though the creatures were shown disporting like fishes in the waters of some marine grotto.
Okay.
Or paying homage at some monolithic shrine, which appeared to be under the waves as well. Of their faces and forms I dare not speak in detail.
Yeah, I kind of see the face of that one right there. It looks a little off-putting.
For the mere remembrance makes me grow faint.
I mean, it's just a uncanny-looking face.
Grotesque beyond the imagination of a Poe or a Bulwer.
That one looks like a mind flare. That one looks pretty normal. That one, I'm concerned for the guy, and that one looks the most matchable to what a water person may look like if they were developed weird features. Maybe, I don't know.
They were damnably human in general outline, despite webbed hands and feet, shockingly wide and flabby lips, glassy, bulging eyes, and other features less pleasant to recall.
I mean, yeah, they're not the prettiest, but it's like it's not too bad. It kind of looks a little goofy, actually.
Curiously enough, they
Probably
seem to have been
terrible.
chiseled badly out of proportion with their scenic background. For one of the creatures was shown in the act of killing a whale, represented as but little larger than himself.
Oh! Oh! Great! Good! Fun! So one of these things are as big as a whale!
I remarked, as I say, their grotesqueness and strange size.
So it's probably like 4 times as big as this obelisk, maybe.
But in a moment decided
just
that
as
they
big.
were merely the imaginary gods of some primitive fishing or seafaring tribe. Some tribe whose last descendant had perished eras before the first ancestor of the Piltdown or Neanderthal man was born.
Okay.
Awestruck at this unexpected glimpse into a past beyond the conception of the most daring anthropologist, I stood musing whilst the moon cast queer reflections on the silent channel before me. Then, suddenly, I saw it.
Saw what?
With only
Oh.
a slight churning to mark its rise to the surface, the thing slid into view above the dark waters.
Is there something living in this small puddle?
Fiend-like and loathsome, it darted like a stupendous monster of nightmares to the monolith,
Uh-huh.
about which it flung its gigantic scaly arms, the while it bowed its hideous head and gave vent to certain measured sounds.
Ah. What?
I think I went mad then.
Okay. But why?
Of my frantic ascent of the sloping cliff, and of my delirious journey back to the stranded boat, I remember little.
I mean, I understand maybe going mad after seeing the sight of something unworldly like that, I suppose. Okay.
I believe I sang a great deal, and laughed oddly when I was unable to sing.
Sure. I mean, pretty looking visuals here in the area, so that's really nice.
I have indistinct recollections of a great storm sometime after I reached the boat. At any rate, I know that I heard pearls of thunder and other tones which nature utters only in her wildest moods.
Alright, let's get in the shelter of the boat. Of the crashed boat.
When I came out of the shadows, I was in a San Francisco hospital.
So I'm going mad.
Brought thither by the captain of the American ship which had picked up my boat in mid-ocean.
Oh.
In my delirium, I had said much, but found that my words had been given scant attention.
Oh wow, it's a really nicely detailed room.
Of any land upheaval in the Pacific, my rescuers knew nothing.
Hospital seems to be worn down, a little shabby.
Nor did I deem it necessary to insist upon a thing which I knew they could not believe.
Yeah, I wouldn't know how to explain it either. Oh, do we just get up and leave? Oh no, the door will open on its own.
Once I sought out a celebrated ethnologist and amused him with peculiar questions regarding the ancient Philistine legend of Dagon, the fish god.
A fish god. So, is Dagon stuff just fish-based things? And not unfathomable, like, weird eldritch horrors? Dagon was the main deity to the Philistines, worshipped throughout the Middle East as ancient god of fertility and crops. In Hebrew, the word Dagon was a common noun for grain. The rulers of Akkad chose him as the patron saint of their war conquests? So, excusing deities as your thing to do sort of... Okay, he also appeared as the judge of the dead and served a poem to underworld person. Okay, sure. He is often mistakenly taken for a fish god due to the wrong interpretation of his name. As in Hebrew, the word dag means fish. In H.P. Lovecraft works, Dagon is an underwater deity ruling over the deep ones. A humanoid race with fish traits that resides in the oceans. He is worshipped by a secret cult of the historic Order of Dagon. So Dagon literally just means fish god. But it's a misinterpretation, a mistranslation, and it's supposed to mean something else. Which is apparently the ancient god of fertility and crops. Or no, it's a common noun for grain. So Dagon means grain. It somehow been translated to fish god. Alright, don't know how we got to that point. Interesting. Alright, well, that is ridiculous. I guess I'm getting up and go over here now.
But soon perceiving that he was hopelessly conventional, I did not press my inquiries.
Okay. And now there is a ghost playing music behind me. Oh, why? Okay. Why would you make me get up and walk over to this desk? I'm like, oh, I must look for a thing over here. Do I access something here or something? Oh. It's supposed to be that. And then why would you... Okay, the clock's ringing. We'll check that out here in a sec. Oh, jeez. August Cthulhu Mythos. August Derleth was an American writer and mythologist. He also befriended Lovecraft and published many of his works through his company, Arkham House. Although he greatly contributed to the popularization of the author's works, after his death, he is surrounded by numerous controversies. One of those most questionable decisions involved introducing the good versus evil doctrine. Philip was a devout Catholic. The Cthulhu Mythos, which contrasted with Lovecraft's view of the world and his approach to cosmic horror. As a result, the author's works are often misunderstood and misinterpreted in today's culture. It is also worth noting that Lovecraft was never really interested in writing a mythology, and the term Cthulhu Mythos was coined by Derleth after the author left the mortal plane. Okay. I am being cultured on things, educated about history through a game, and stuff about people's writings of misinterpreted things. Was the point to bring me over here so I could go with the... Okay, yeah, sure.
It is at night, especially when the moon is gibbous and waning, that I see the thing.
I can notice on the corner of my vision that there's a desk that looks like to be in front of a door, so maybe my character is like barricading it? Because he's hearing the thing he talks about?
I tried morphine.
I feel like... Isn't there like a side effect that can cause hallucinations if you take that? I don't know if that's true or not. I've never heard of anything about it.
But the drug has given only transient surcease, and has drawn me into its clutches as a hopeless slave.
Yeah.
So now, I am to end it all, having written a full account for the information or the contemptuous amusement of my fellow men.
So, am I just gonna end the game if I drink what? Is it about a poison?
Often, I ask myself if it could not all have been a pure phantasm, a mere freak of fever as I lay sun-stricken and raving in the open boat after my escape from the German man-of-war.
I mean, that could definitely be possible. Like, being left stranded on a boat, hallucinating in the hot, scorching sun and intense cold nights.
This I ask myself, but ever does there come before me a hideously vivid vision in reply.
Okay.
I cannot think of the deep sea without shuddering at the nameless things that may at this very moment be crawling and floundering on its slimy bed.
I mean, with intense music and that statement, I can see the selling of that idea and the spoopiness of it.
Worshipping their ancient stone idols and carving their own detestable likenesses on submarine obelisks of water-soaked granite. I dream of a day when they may rise above the billows to drag down into their reeking talons the remnants of puny, war-exhausted mankind. Of a day when the land shall sink and the dark ocean shall ascend amidst universal pandemonium.
Seems like a kind of a little bit of a goofy view. All these just like little tendril-back things in a very... add some skyscrapers. That's the Statue of Liberty. Alright then. This feels a little silly, this part here. Oh, jeez.
The end is near.
I'm pretty sure doors aren't supposed to pulsate like that.
I hear a noise at the door, as of some immense slippery body lumbering against it.
Uh-huh. Is that a giant creature?
It shall not find me.
Do I hide underneath the bed or jump out the window? Looks like it's about to find us.
God, that hand!
Uh-huh.
The window! The window!
Okay. Am I being timed? Oh boy. Thank you for playing. We hope you enjoyed immersing yourself in our little pool of cosmic horror. We would appreciate it if you took a moment to rate Dagon and check out our other games and DLCs. I don't know what to think or feel. Maybe let me walk around a little. I would like that. That I would very much appreciate. I have no idea what these are. It's kind of small to see them. I'm just gonna ignore these. I don't need to interact with that. I guess that's the game. So, thank you all for watching. I hope you've enjoyed.